Hello, welcome to our channel. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It all depends on your location. You see, today I'd like to touch on one or two things, but it will be hard to talk about other things that are as well important without talking about the Nigerian elections and what it has not taught us. Because it's like a new book or a new chapter has been opened in the history of Nigeria. So, being it 10 years from now, or 50 years from now, or 100 years from now, if these books are being read by the generations that will be at that time, whether the country or the entity still exists as it is today, that's a geographical expression called Nigeria, or it has been, you know, let's say divided, to suit the peace that everybody, so deserve. Because without peace, nothing else, nothing else happens. Without peace, no crop grows. So without peace, no harvest. So it's as simple as that. Let me just put it that way. So whatever thing you do in life, you need peace first. Remember back in the days, to go to farm was a thing that was taken for granted in a country like Nigeria. And when you hear about wars in some other countries, then you feel like, what the hell was actually going on that maybe some countries back then in Africa where these wars were, you start to wonder why they were killing themselves as far as political power is concerned. So, but now you know, or you know better now, especially most of us who were born after the Civil War, or those who were too young to understand what was going on during the Civil War, you know, etc. You now know what it is to have peace. Because once upon a time, people used to travel all the way from, let's say, from the east to the north overnight without any problem at all, without even police roadblock. So we used to hear. So, but now all those things now sounds like a movie script, you know, in the faces or in the ears of our youth. So you can hardly convince anyone that things like that ever happened before in Nigeria. So as for those who used to travel intercontinental within the region of Africa, they will tell you the same thing that they used to travel all the way from Nigeria to Mauritania without any hindrance whatsoever. So now, if you hear things like that, you say what? So how many days does it take? Does it used to take you there to travel these distances? And what were you going there to do? They will tell you what you were going there to do. You go there to buy some stuff that they think was cheaper over there. Why they are going there from Nigeria? They take some stuff that they think is cheaper in Nigeria, and they sell them there, and they get some money there, and they buy the other ones that they think that a Nigerian is that are also more cheaper there, you know, and bring it to Nigeria to sell. So this was the way of life of most people then. So and they enjoyed it. Some people live like that for, work like that for like 50 years without actual actual insurance for anything. So it all depends on their skills. after that time to save for what they earn. And most of those people they were able to train their children as well, you know, even to university levels, etc. So this was the way of life. No intimidation whatsoever. People move around. So, but once upon a time, some greedy people from somewhere came into Africa from all over Europe and the rest. You start to wonder what were they looking for? Because if their country was so good and so comfortable and conducive for them, what were they actually looking for? It's like when you see a rabbit in the daytime wandering, you start to see when others are sleeping in their house and things like that. Then you should know that something is chasing that rabbit out of that hole. That's exactly why it's running around looking for a shelter somewhere. So, but these people were not looking for shelter. They never had any good intention for anyone. Enough, do they have any good intention for Africans or to anywhere that they've been to? So they go there, they study everybody, and they see how receptive these people were, and the hospitality of these people are region and things like that. Then they come back and they tell their kings, this was what we saw, in so and so geographical area, etc., etc. Then they give you a name, so in order for you to make it much easier for them to locate when they want to go there. So then they come, they make friends with you. Before you know it, then they start to connive with the so-called power that be, because they saw that they were so inferior in their way of thinking. Because while they were gagging what they have, then we were so loose with what we had. Because we never really, people then never really, or leaders then never really care about anything. So they were so selfish with their own little enclave that they had. So, and they were receptive to foreigners or to people of different colors and races and things like that. So, without actually knowing that these people were coming there for something else, because at least the kings that we have then were much educated than the ordinary people because they were rich. So they should know better. But at the end of the day, they did not. Because the kind of things they know then, you know, were not the kind of things that these people know. So it was two different. It was a clash of two different, you know, civilizations and things like that. So because if we have to be talking about all these things now, we have to start referring back to the days of what is it called, Mama Musa or whatever. Who was said to be the richest man in the world then. I'm not even going as far as that. I'm just talking about the peripheral of pre-colonialism and post-colonialism, etc. First of all, you know, before the slave trade, then colonialism, and thereafter. So, but I'm not here to talk to give you some long story. But what I'm saying is that sometimes Nigerian politics bring back all these memories, very bitter memories of the past. Because, like you read them in the book, then you saw that most of those stories were doctored, to favor the Europeans, who were the same people that wrote the books. But when you go deeper on your own to make some research, then you find out that all these things were all lies. So, because now, if you look at the so-called demon crazy, because today I call this one demon crazy, the one that happens in Nigeria now. This is not even demonstration of craze anymore. These are demons, you know. These are demonly possessed politicians, who are ready to share blood, kill human beings, you know, make all sorts of sacrifices, just for them to get power. So then you start to wonder, what is this power about actually? Is this power really to serve? Or this power is, you know, in order to grab the absolute power to control and to dehumanize and to, to steal the wealth of the people, then build wealth for their children and grandchildren and great grandchildren, you know. So if that is not the if that is not the reason or the motive behind this whole thing, then tell me what it is. Because as you see now, you can see that these people are a bunch of gangsters. They now belong to courts, all kinds of courts. Not just the normal usual fraternity court that you do have in the universities and things like that. These are courts. When I mean court, I mean real courts. You know, demonic courts. You know, so this is what they are. This is what they become. In order for them to get power, they want power, absolute power, by every means necessary. Thank God for the internet. We saw how these people now operate in broad daylight. Back in the days, they used to snatch buses, you know, etc., etc., scare people away and run around, raise results, and to print the whole night, especially in the north. You see children printing, the cows are printing, etc., in order for them to, to maintain that so-called uh, so-called larger or higher population density area that the British, you know, impose on them. That is the only way that they can control or have some power, you know, within the scheme of things. As at then, so when the British rang, or they rang, sorry, they rigged the population census to favor the North as against the South. When the whole North, desert North or semi-desert North, partly middle belt, etc., it's not even up to the density of Lagos and the rest of the South. I'm not talking about. I'm saying Lagos. I'm not saying the rest of the Southwest. I'm just saying Lagos. Yeah, because if you look at Lagos alone, yeah, Lagos should be at least up to 30 million, if I'm not mistaken. They are just saying Lagos is 25, 24 million. For how long have they been saying that? That Lagos is 24, 25 million, etc., etc. Lagos should be more than 30 million people. If you go to Lagos, if you live in Lagos, you will know what I'm talking about. You know. So the same thing. If you go to Warri, the same thing. When I was growing up in Warri, there's a time if I get to a place called Nere Junction, I'll say, "Wow, what the hell is going on?" It's like everybody was just coming from everywhere. Because this place was not so busy like this. You know, you start to see the whole place so busy, and you start to wonder what the hell is going on. Where are they coming from, and where are they going to? So just imagine then and now. You know, so that is when we used to say when we used to call Wafi, the oil booming city, if you know what I mean. So just imagine that. So now go to Port Harcourt. I guess you find the same thing there. You go to Enugu. These are the major towns in the south as at that time. Enugu, which was the coal mine city. As at that time also. So you have a lot of a lot of employability, you know, of let's say you have more chances of being employed or to find a job in those big cities at that time. So and Calabar used to have a port also. So now, Warri Port used to function as at that time. Calabar Port used to function too, or Port Harcourt Port used to function there. But now, all those ports are seized. Everything now is Lagos. These things were done on purpose to punish the rest of the South or to punish Nigeria as a whole. But you are being made to understand that this thing was done for some other political, gain or another, you know, and you start to believe it also. So I'm jumping here, left and right, talking about this, talking about that, because all these things interconnect with each other if you look at it very well. Because now, if you see how these politicians are struggling and fighting so hard to retain relevance and power, even when they are not wanted by the people, then it will tell you something, that something is up going somewhere. And Nigeria is like, it's like a kettle that is placed on a fire top, or you can also say, on a gas, you know, but on the fire top that is steaming slowly and slowly. It's either two things are bound to happen. It's either the water dries off from that pot, and the pot get burnt, or the bottom drop off, or the water will burst to the extent that the whole thing will just explode. You understand? So I don't want to use that normal word that they used to say that Nigeria is not the keg of, whatever, gunpowder and things. It's that bullshit. There's no more gunpowder and bullshit. It's more than that this time around. Nigeria is a grenade sitting upside down without a pin on it and just waiting to deactivate. So all these things these people are doing, they know themselves, and we know them too. Can they really run if the people mean business? I don't think they can. So today you hear about Lagos State, how the election was during in Lagos, how they were pursuing non-indigenous or non-Lagos or non-Yorubas. Then tomorrow you go to River State, then where the case is not, it's almost similar also, because a lot of Igbo people also live in River State. So when you check the presidential election, for example, you see that most people were disenfranchised, you know, simply because of maybe where their loyalty lies, that they were on the side of the LP candidate, Peter Obi. So, which the governor himself never thought had a chance. So, therefore, he never supported Peter Obi, although he said he was supporting a certain president, etc. Was Peter Obi not a certain? So, but he cannot support two at the same time. So, he chose to support Tinubu instead of Peter Obi. So, but the reason there is that nobody said you should not support a certain candidate. That is what we all want, and we still stand by that. So, but the issue is, why won't you say, may the best win among the two? That's how to be fair. May the best win among the two. So you see, you have to see what's on ground. What do my people what do my people want? Who are they voting for? Let me see. Oh yeah, okay, if that's the way they want it. So let it be. Because there's no way in the whole of the South that you will have found any state who will consciously vote against a certain president this time around. Because they've had enough of all these 8 years of strangulations, economic strangulations, blocking the borders, then in the South, why you open the borders in the North and stuff like that. You think we are foolish? We are not, So we'll be watching, everybody will be watching, and we'll just be praying that one of these days, let this whole thing just fade away, So some even, hoping that a military coup will just come up and maybe sweep away this clueless government out of power and let the right people run things, etc. Because no matter how poor Nigeria is today, that's the beauty of Nigeria is that no matter how poor Nigeria is today, right now, only one right man, one right-minded person or woman we assume power and take that position of authority today, things will just change. It has always been like that. You just think that everything. I mean, all hopes they just finish and stuff like that. One Northerner will come, will destroy the economy. The Southerner will come, just fix the economy. It has been like that from day one. If you are sleeping, wake up. I said a Northerner will always come to Nigeria, seat of power, destroy the economy, run the economy down. It's like they are just siphoning the fund of Nigeria, just taking it somewhere, you know, in one special account, into one special account, hoping that one day Nigeria will break, then they will form their own country. That is the way I still see it tomorrow. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. When Shagari came, what did he do? You still remember? He told the same thing. He destroyed the economy. Grade 2 teacher was put there, was placed there by the power that be then, Obasanjo himself, instead of the man that actually won the election, or that was acclaimed to have won the election, Awolowo, his own kinsman, because he knew that Awolowo was an educated man, that he cannot be, teleguided or be pushed around and stuff like that. So maybe he was thinking that if he put Shagari there, then he'll be able to maybe control Shagari or push him around and stuff like that. But as soon as Shagari got there, then the same people, that has been behind him and stuff like that, they just, took over the whole swarm of things, because they always have the way they do their own stuff there. Arakadede, before you know it, they run the country down. Instead of putting the right man there to do the job, once you have a brother, a cousin, or a nephew, or this and that, who wants a job, you show him Agbada, even if you have a primary school, primary six certificate, it doesn't matter. Can you speak English? He said no, no problem. If you cannot speak English, then you work in the north. So in the north, you don't need to speak English. All you have to be speaking Hausa. Then when he managed to learn English, then one day we come outside and start to, show himself. To the extent that then they used to have one governor called Bakizu, if you still remember, Kano State. And they say, Oga, what are you doing with government money in your house? You say, government money, government house. You say, what's the problem? Why is it? So, so that is the mentality that the English people have. They still have that mentality. Nothing has changed. So you just don't entrust people with power without having the capacity to actually rule. These same people cannot even rule over their wives. Many of them have 4 wives, some even have 10 concubines all over the place, etc. That is the kind of life, they believe, they live, how they can live, how they see as fulfillment. Every other thing is secondary. All they have to do is to change Agbada every day. When Agbada every day is stashed, fully stashed Agbada with color flyings, like this, then they move around, etc., etc. So they go around, throwing money around, government money. Oh, you want food? Oh, give them food. Oh, this one. Oh, Arakadede. You see, all the people, the same people you're supposed to create job for, we become beggars in this compound 24/7. Then they are eating everywhere. Every day is party. They are cooking all day, all night. There are anybody who don't. If you don't have food, come here, eat and stuff like that. Instead of you to create job for these same people, create a center where they can learn, get some skills and things like that, so that they can fend for themselves. No, they make everybody lazy. People used to go to farm. Now people cannot go to farm anymore because of what? Insecurity. Now who is the cause of the insecurity? It's Buhari himself. Before Buhari came, insecurity was there. That we know. But as soon as he came, then everything increases. Because first of all, before he came, then he started to threaten all kinds of, make all kinds of threats and stuff like that. Then he started to invite, people from the outside and stuff. It's like inviting, maybe telling it's cool travelers to start releasing all the prisoners from all the neighboring states in Africa or in the Western African region, that they should be coming to Nigeria, that Nigeria belongs to them. So he put that into their head. He promised them heaven and earth. He promised them land because they were killing, fighting in Mali, over land and stuff like that. He said, they should live there. Then come to Nigeria. Nigeria is your Eldorado. It's your home distance. So Nigeria belongs to. You start to brainwash them. You start to say all sorts of lies, all kinds of lies to these people, just because he wants power. Because what he was thinking was, okay, if he brings them in, they will help him. He will give them the PVC, to be able to enable them to vote. In fact, even as at that time, there was nothing like PVC. So all they have to do was to register them as Nigerians so that they will start to vote for him. So as soon as they vote for him, because Buhari, like he knew then, was that he thought that the vote of the North alone can make him a president. That was what he thought. He never actually thought that he needed any vote from the South or East or West. So that was why when he was losing elections, over the years, he was crying foul. He said he was being rigged out because he knew that he was popular in some states in the north. So he was surprised. How come he's not popular, you know, all over the country? So he thought that because he goes about in the north, goes around the north, and people are just hailing, hey, Arakadidi, Arakadidi. So he thought, oh, he too was so popular in the whole of the country. So, but anyway, Tinubu saw that niche in this man, that okay, this man is popular in the north or in some part of the north. Then all we have to do is to polish this man's image and present him to Nigeria and to fine tune the whole thing. Maybe it will work, you know. So I have the money, he don't have money. Maybe I can control this man, then he can do my biddings and stuff. So let me try something. That was exactly what Tinubu did. He invested in this man, then brought in some other investors like Amechi, from Rivers. he brought he brought in all these political investors, arm robbers, arm robbers, you know, and looters of our wealth, of our commonwealth. He brought them all in. Then they formed a clique, and he said, "You know what? This is what we are going to do. First, you have to start firing your brother, Jonathan, so that his own people will start to hate him. Then at the end of the day, then I will fine tune the other one here, then make an alliance with Buhari. Then I think we have a go. Maybe we get there. Maybe not, but let's just give it a try." That makes you say, man, this one sounds very good. So, but what's the deal? I say, you are. Just tell me what you want. I mean, you say, oh, transport ministers. Transport. That one is a done deal. Sign here. I mean, she put the signature to this thing. Then they give it to Arakadede. Arakadede look at it and say, what is that? A minister. If you want to be three ministers, Minister of Defense, Minister of Finance, Minister of Oil, Minister of Petroleum, Minister of Diesel, Minister of Fuel. I say, Minister of Diesel, Minister of Fuel, Minister. Yes, Minister of Petroleum. Okay, anything you call it, no problem. Minister of Money, Minister of now CBN. That was how this man was told that this the whole thing was. Then the man said, okay, so anything you say, I'm okay with it. And this man himself, another 419. He looks like a mugu, but it's not a mugu like that. Because he has some other people who are also, who also have that local intelligence, I would say, you know. So local intelligence, we call it 419. So then they told him, say, just get the power first. You get the power, these people, you can do anything you want with them. That was how this man grabbed power. Somehow, somehow, somehow. Then all he was doing was just inciting, threatening, trying to bring, what do you call it, and and hailstorms and brimstones and what have you. You know, bring fire everywhere with his mouth. Thunder, we're fiery. One day I learned, okay, this man was going somewhere in Kaduna. Then the next thing, oh, somebody just wrote and blocked him like this. Then something happened. It's like they crashed his car, or something happened. It's like there was a bomb that explodes. Oh, it's like they are trying to kill this man. Then the man just came out. Then this thing was prepared. And there was a camera ready, ready for that motion picture. I will call it pure acting. Then this man just came out. Hey, it is Jonathan that was trying to kill me. It's Jonathan, it's Jonathan. I know it is Jonathan. 2013, 2014, before the election, if you still remember. Then this man started to make the news. Make news. Every wrong, for every wrong, you know, uh, headlines. Anything that has to incite the people against the government of that day. That is what this man was doing. The same thing that most politicians also did in those states later, you know, year in, year out, every now and then. Oh, they got an accident somewhere, during the campaign. It was the so and so. It was Jonathan that was in charge of this, that is doing these things. That's what it was, just like that. Then this man came out with his own Sanusi. Oh, how the federal government, you know, was then a CBN governor, and everybody so believed in this man then, or most people, because they thought the man was intelligent and never knew that this man was something else. You know that Jonathan government and looted so and so amount of money, was it 12 billion dollars or what have you, and stuff like that. Even Jonathan was dumbfounded. Say, huh? Even if that is true, you're working for the government. Why won't you come to the government and say what you know? Instead of you to be going out straight to the press, I'll be saying something without any substantial proof. So that was when, some intelligent people also within the government, you know, came down and they tried to scrutinize the whole issue to see what the hell was going on. How can $12 billion just miss without nobody knowing, without even the president knowing, or even the finance minister knowing? So that was when reports start to cross-check reports and everything. Then the next thing, when they confronted him at the Senate committee, they asked him, "Hey, can you lay down your proofs and everything?" Or he said, "Oh, sorry, it's not 12 billion. It's I think maybe 2 billion and uh, 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 uh. Ah, ah. See this man though. We used to think that this man is so brilliant and wise, the way he carry himself, shoulder high, very arrogant, bullshit, cocky, you know. But this time around, they just deflated this man. He was deflated from a big balloon to one little shrink, you know, thing like that. That was the moment I knew that that country was going down, because the people we used to see, we used to have hope on, we saw that they were not the same people. They have their own agenda, completely different from every other one that was going and that was on ground. Jonathan was so good as compared to this government of today that the place of Nigeria as at that time, 2014, economically and otherwise, before that place can be met again now, even if a Satana take over again, it will take another, maybe, if a Satana should rule for another 20 years, I'm talking, it will take another maybe 20 years. And that would depend on how good the economy will be. But if a Satana stays or take control now for another 8 years, and after that 8 years again, another Satana come in again, and another Satana happen to be this set of people again, I guarantee you, the clock, the case will be another, reverse clock. Nigeria will be reversed, put back to reverse again. One step forward, two step back. One step forward, two step back. Now people are saying 1970 was a very good year. Some are saying 1980 was a very good year. 1990 was a very good year. 2000 was a very good year. 2014 was a very good year. Maybe 2024 you say it was a very good year. so, so, so if you understand the little logic of what I'm trying to say here, I just put this thing. Don't mind this picture that is there at the background. So because I don't want to talk about politics too much. Like you see all that happens all over the country. So it's all about problem, 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 problem. You know, that Nigeria has become. There's no hope in sight. Even the holiest man, even if he assume power today, the next thing you still see is bombardment. And most especially if a woman have any authority or is in power in any position, in any high position, that is when you see some fanatical madness on the side of some people, because that is the worst thing they want to see. A woman in power or in any authority, in power, any position of authority in Nigeria. They so hate it. They so hate it that they can do anything to bring that institution down. I remember when this lady was in stock exchange then. Can't remember her name now. One big Igbo woman during the Jonathan era, first term of Jonathan, or even during the Yaradua era. All kinds of news were flying. Then later, it was Aruna Ote, stock exchange, the same thing. Then later, it was Minister of Finance, Okujo Iweala. The same thing, you were trying to drag her down. Oh, I think I think the South better open their eyes there, because that country cannot move forward. Because waiting is forget it. You might say this thing have nothing to do with this one. Everything have everything to do with this whole thing, because it has been happening all over again. After that one, it was the design in Madueke. Until today, she still be blackmailed. To be very corrupt, to have stolen money without any actual proof, to the extent that they have to go the extra mile to make sure that most of our things or properties, are confiscated. So, but what all these things actually means is that most of these people that are being brought to book, in most cases, they are always Satanists. How many monotonists have been brought to book? Any monotonist that must have been brought to book is because of one thing, because it did not play their game of hatred that they have against the South in one way or another, or because that person does not belong to their clique. So, take for example, this man that was killed, the former chief of naval staff, was it Nava, the man from Adamawa under Jonathan, that was killed on his way to the end from the farm in Abuja there. Till today, nobody has been held responsible. Then the other woman that they killed her daughter, who was later working with the finance sector also, Namani, and what do you call it, Namdi something, from Kaduna State. The same thing. So you see, they have some hit squads that does the dirty job for them, and they cover it up, especially when they are in power. They commit all this crime and they just cover the whole thing up. All these things are not by coincidence, it's by design. They know what they are doing. But it's only the South that is just fooling itself. Because the South is so fooling itself to the extent that they think they are so educated that sometimes they don't actually mind or do the needful, the basic needful for their people. to be protected, or for the interest of their people to be protected. So therefore, whether in politics or in pre-colonial or um, post-colonial or pre-colonial, the same thing that has been happening is still happening, selling their people and their land to the foreigners. Nigerians will soon find out, because one day when that country will be split, whether into 4 or 5 or 10, that is when you realize that most of these people are foreigners that has been rolling over you in the name of one Nigeria. Nigeria is never one. I can never be. Get that into your score. It's like somebody who sold his father's property to please a foreigner, simply because they said, "Oh, we are one." Then tomorrow, to realize that you are not one, then you ask him, "Okay, let me buy back the property." And the person said, "No, I paid for that property already. Even if I don't need it, I'm not going to sell it. I will leave it there until that 99 years is complete." Because normally it's 99 years. When you buy land in Nigeria, it lasts for 99 years. So whether that law is a colonial law or what have you, I don't know. But that is the way it is. 99 years. It's not forever. So you can take your land back after 99 years and say, "No, we are not renewing this contract for you anymore. Get the fuck out of get the hell out of our space." Or you can equally ask, what tax have you paid over time? Have you ever paid any tax, to us? Or how much tax have you paid? Let's say over a period of maybe for 99 years. Let's check. Did your grandfather or your great grandfather pay any tax? Okay, we check and everything. If there's no record of that, then maybe you start from there. So, but in the name of one Nigeria, most things are just taken for granted and nothing actually works. So my point is that pre-colonial, post-colonial, and what have you, the mentality has never changed too much. Even with all the education and everything, our people are still here to learn the real thing. Because the Jagudaism that they have brought into politics this time around and the rascality cannot be separated. So that is when you know who they actually are. Because the way they are doing this, the way the manner that they are doing this whole thing this time around, has been upgraded, from the pre-colonial era, to what it has now become. You see people with the cutlasses, using cutlasses to butcher people, break things, destroy things that they cannot ordinarily maybe possess or ordinarily even have as their own. They just come in 1 second and destroy it. And maybe that thing took someone, maybe some years and years of service and hard work just to obtain. Just because of one election. After 4 years, every 4 years, these things do occur. So this thing is really worrisome. And now, the so-called president-elect, are you sure he's actually happy with the situation of things? I don't think so. Because how can you become claim to have won an election without actually having the actual majority that was proposed by the law? Like, for example, 25% of the FCT. He didn't have it. And all the rigging that took place, barefaced rigging that took place, everyone saw it. So now, how can you legitimize that position? How can you gain the respect that you so deserve for you to rule? Because you're not going to rule alone. You need people to rule with. They are looking for people who are very sincere and fair when they know that you are not sincere. with yourself to have gotten the power that you are not supposed to be there. Or at least you give some time, you get to start to convince them. Instead of you to be forging ahead and doing what you're supposed to do. It doesn't make any sense to me because if there's no more dignity in all of this, then what else is left? Why pushing yourself on the people, even when the people are rejecting you or refusing you access? Why pushing yourself on them? All you have to do is to stay back, stay away, maintain your own position, and stay where you are. So, but you keep pushing, pushing, pushing. So at the point, something will give. Because the way it is right now, like I said before, Nigeria is like a keg of water on the fire, waiting to explode. Or you can see a grenade turned upside down without a pin, waiting to explode. So, but who will fix this madness? Because the demons that brought the craziness have to be detoxicated. Because they are so power drunk that they don't even know what they are doing anymore. So, something have to give. Either the people stand up and push them out because power is not given. Power is not given. It's not something that you just wish for, and the people in power will say yes. Okay, now it's your turn. Actually, let me hand it over to you. No, if that has been the case, I don't think any African country will have gotten their independence till now. Our forefathers fought for this independence then, and our fathers too fought for this independence then. They fought with everything that they had. Everything, when I mean everything, I mean everything that they had. You know? So at the end of the day, even the British, the so-called almighty British then, said, okay, you cannot have your this thing. But before we go, let's put our puppets there. So they put their puppets there. They said they taught them something called democracy, but I don't think they teach them everything. But this time around, thank God, years later, they are not supposed to teach you everything. You're supposed to know everything for yourself because you can see how they run their own things in their countries. It's not hidden. You can go to the library and you see how their system works. If not, if you don't want to adopt their system, go to any other this library and check some other systems in the world that works. Even in Africa, there are systems that work. It's only in Africa that a politician will never resign his position, no matter the corruption cases that is brought against him or her by anyone, no matter the evidence. Even if you catch them out stealing money and putting the money into their agbada or into their suit, bunch of dollars and stuff like that, like Gando dollars. Yet the next day he will shake up after drinking some coffee and stuff, you know, or smoking Igbo. Then when the brain don't stand, he will tell you say, "Not be me, you see, oh, that was not me. That was somebody that looks like me." Even me, I was surprised when I saw that video. No, 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 it's not me, but okay, that was your office chair. Yeah, maybe that person was just trying to impersonate me or something like that. You know, he will keep saying that, and before you know it, everybody forget about that whole mess and just move on. That's how Nigeria has been. Short memory over everything else. That is just, I'm just making a comparison as to how the system works. You know, that's how Nigeria is. See the other time, Malami, 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 Malami was breaking the news. Before you know it, Malami, in fact, became de facto president. It's like he have all the power, to do and undo. They just brought this man and the former what do you call him? The Supreme Court judge. They just took him from his seat. Then the first thing they did, manipulate everything, just because they don't want that man to be there before the appeal of the electoral election and issue that is in 2019 go to the Supreme Court. So before then, they have to remove this man by every means necessary. They pull him out, then they replace him with one alternative, a man that will do their own biddings and stuff like that, because they were not sure that that man is going to, fall into their own, prey to do what they want. They pull him down, like joke. Every other person just kept quiet. They were like, oh, well, it's not me after all. Well, and that man is from so and so place after all, So ever since then, the Supreme Court has never been the same. Now you can see the Supreme Court now ruling on one issue, which is supposed to be the final issue. 6 months later or 1 year later, they come back again and rule against themselves again. It has never happened before in the history of Nigeria. Now they've destroyed the judiciary completely because they've taken it over with their touts and semi-illiterates, you know, and what do you call it, moronic, educated idiots, you know. So now the Agberos are ruling also. Some has become senators, some has become governors. So what do you expect? One day they become president. So the other day, as I was reading also in some newspapers, then one foreign country called, he said the president-elect of Nigeria is a former drug baron. Did he say former? He said a drug baron. That was what he said. No mention was. You know, is that what we want? If Tinubu knows that he's not a drug baron, he was not convicted with money laundry and things like that, then why won't he just go with all his money and stuff like that and just clear the mess? Instead of them to drag Nigeria into the whole thing by saying Nigeria. Because in America, they also have drug barons in their politics. But maybe this one, they always have one way or the other to clear their names and stuff. But if you be convicted by a court of law in the US for money laundering and things like that, that is drug related, then it becomes a stigma on the whole of the country. So, but if the same man is the man that Nigerians really voted for, and the vote was, the election was free and fair, then maybe it will be easier to manage. Whereas it is now, you can see these people, they're just sitting on the fence in the West. They are waiting for an opportunity to come and dine in Nigeria. That opportunity would be if Tinubu is ready to make a deal with them. So if, for example, Tinubu say, oh, I'm ready to make a deal with you, come and suck the oil for under 8 years, so long as, I remain the president and stuff like that, and tell your boys not to write any bullshit, about my presidency. If they strike that deal with him, before you know it, it's the same international news press that you'll be seeing. In fact, they'll be inviting him here and there for all the kind of dinners and visiting to the White House, etc., than saying all good things about him. It's all about what they can get. It's not about you. They don't care about Nigeria. Neither do they care about Africa. They care about themselves. So you too care about yourself. So whatever problem we are having today in Nigeria, definitely 10 years from now, 20 years from now, it will become history. It will come and go. But Nigeria, either it remains as an entity, or it remains as a divided country, or it remains whatever thing that it should be, or that it will become. But we know one day Nigeria will be free from all these shameless politicians and power drunk monsters. So, ladies and gentlemen, so is it. So the election was a shamble, and demon craziness has taken over all the politicians of Nigeria. So I think they need deliverance. If you know you are good and prayerful, whether as a Muslim, as a Christian, or as a traditionalist, please, anything you can do to make them better, do it now. Don't wait till later. because later might be too late. Hmm? That's it to my brothers and sisters. So take it from there, and hope to see you soon. And God